Let's start our journey through musical history in the medieval times. Medieval times, also known as the Dark Ages, the Middle Ages, is going to resemble a setting that we might be familiar with from watching Game of Thrones. It's the time of the feudal system where you have your nobility, your clergy, peasantry. It was the time of the Crusades, the Holy Crusades. It was the time of the Black Plague, which in turn gave us the song Ring Around the Rosie. Check out the backstory on that online somewhere. The music of the time, primarily sacred music from within the Roman Catholic Church. There was definitely a delineation between sacred music, music of the church, and secular music, which is folk music, but it wasn't as strongly divided as it is nowadays. Sometimes you might have specifically the sound of chants and melodies of chant recycling themselves in folk songs of the day. The music was primarily strictly vocal until about 1100 BC, where we started to see the incorporation of certain musical instruments and some types of drone instruments to help singers keep their pitch. And then primarily, we end up having organ and piano, keyboard instruments of some sort throughout. And the musicians in question of the day would be the priests and nuns who occupied, worked at, lived at, worshipped at the church in question, or the monastery, the nunnery, what have you. So the specific type of music that we refer to and talk about first off in the Middle Ages is Gregorian chant, also known as plain chant or plain song. It was given the name Gregorian chant after Pope Gregory I, who is said to have collected the primary sources of all the chants, put them in a book for us, and let us use them throughout any musical service that we choose. So what is Gregorian chant? It's a melodic line set to sacred Latin text. A melodic line set to sacred Latin text. One melodic line. For Gregorian chant, it's the texts that we're singing, that are sung, are primarily taken from the Book of Psalms. So through that we hear the representation of the voice of the church, meant to enhance the religious services that are happening at a given time. It's meant to be functional music, not necessarily express specific emotions of any sort. It's supposed to tell us the story written and told to us through in the Bible, express the religious context to inspire worship, nothing else. It began as an oral tradition, and then eventually, as time goes by, we create a notation to go along with it, so it can be passed down and everybody can sing the same thing at the same time. The two main principal categories of music within the Roman Catholic Church are the offices and the Mass. The offices take place throughout the day, every 3 hours on what are known as the canonical hours, and they start at daybreak, at dawn, and are sung throughout the day till dusk, till night. And it's part of the daily routine of nuns and monks that live at the monasteries as part of their worship and work towards their God. So these songs, these chants, are sung in three kind of categories that we refer to as psalms, antiphons, and hymns. What are those specifically, you ask? A hymn is a sacred song of praise for a saint or deity. A psalm is a sacred song of a type that is found in the Old Testament, specifically the Book of Psalms. And then antiphons are liturgical chants sung to a refrain or verse from one of those psalms there. So similar categories of the same thing. They're all singing about something found in the Psalms to inspire worship and praise throughout the day.